Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the September 12, 2016 Board of Selectmen's meeting. I would like to entertain a motion, please, to accept the regular board minutes of August 8, 2016.
Second.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Hull, seconded by Peter. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion, please, for the executive minutes of August 8, 2016.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs.
Second.
Hull, seconded by Ian. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have public participation next, and on the list we have Judy Luciano from the Senior Center.
How are you?
And how are you?
I've never sat here at public participation, so I was still trying to think of anything I could really bring up. But all is good.
Moment
All
of
is good in
glory.
Greenwood, so. But I'm here just to let you all know that we are having a community open house at the Senior Center on Thursday, October 6th, from 4 to 7 p.m. And I'd like to invite you all, for those of you who haven't been there in a while, to come and see what's going on. For those of you who've never been there, please come on down. We're going to try to give you a snapshot of what we do there during the week. We will have, you can take tours of the building. You will be able to meet instructors. You could take a drums class, which is an exercise class. You could get a flu shot. Flu shots will be given out between 4 and 6 by the Board of Health. We'll also have a Medicare presentation. And then you can also, have a little something to eat. We're going to have appetizers, and we'll let you know a little bit about the Senior Center. Any questions? We'll have staff, volunteers, myself. We'll be there to answer any questions you have. So we hope you all, or some of you, could at least take the time that one night and just come on over and see what we do.
Judy, what time does that start again?
It's from 4 to 7.
4 to 7.
If you want to take the drums class, though, that's at 4:15. You got to let us know. If you want to go to the Medicare presentation, that's at 5:30.
Okay.
But I do have flyers here. I'll leave them with Steve in his office, and they'll be posted online on our Facebook page, on the town website. They'll be around town. But please, if you can't make it, spread the word for anyone you may know who may be interested, who has family, friends, or they themselves may be able to take part in some of the services we provide.
Thank you, Judy.
Okay, and I do have one other thing. We do have a couple of board openings on our board. So anyone listening out there in the big audience tonight, we have 2 openings on the COA board. We meet 8 times a year. We're the best board to be on. There's term limits, so you're going to be off. You don't have to stay long. So that's all I have to say. Thank you. Have a good meeting.
Thank you very much. At this moment, I'd like to introduce Pedro Brito from the Veterans Agent. Pedro, welcome.
Thank you. How's everybody doing tonight? So I'm here because we received a donation from the Savings Bank of $1,233 for the World War I Memorial Restoration. I'd also like to thank Phyllis and Tony for showing up when we received this to take pictures and be there with us. So the restoration of the monument is going to detail removing the plaque that's there, cleaning it up, getting it more presentable, and putting a new stone from the quarry of the original stone from the other monuments there, so everything looks uniform, and just get everything looking a lot nicer.
Excellent. Any questions from the board?
No, it's a wonderful gift from the Savings Bank.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I would want to have a authorization to accept the gift from the board, so.
So I'll entertain a motion then to accept the gift of $1,233 from the Savings Bank with thanks.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Ann, seconded by Phyllis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Great
Thank you.
news.
Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pedro.
Any other participation, sir?
That's it.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
I'd like to get into item number 3, presentation or action items. A request from Sharon Gilly, Director of the Lucius B. Memorial Library, to accept and expend the gift or gifts to the library in the amount of $5,127.05 from various donors with thanks.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Request from Sharon Gilly, Director of the Lucius B.V. Memorial Library, to donate network printers to the Stoneham chapter of the Boys and Girls Club.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. A request from Sharon Gilly, Director of the Lucius Beebe Memorial Library, to declare plastic security cases for DVDs as surplus.
So moved.
Moved?
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. I would like a motion to set the regular town meeting date for November 7th, 2016. Motion? Moved?
That's not election.
It's the day before the election.
Okay. Great.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. I'd like to open the regular town meeting warrant. Motion?
Move to open the meeting warrant.
Thank you. A second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Another motion, please, to close the regular town meeting warrant on October 6th, 2016.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Discussion on the recycling contract. I'm going to turn it over to Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and, you know, this has been played out in the news and it's been played out in the Boston Globe, local paper, and actually on some of the local networks. But really, I want to start off by thanking the board. As the board knows, at our last meeting, or maybe 2 meetings ago, actually, we went into executive session to discuss the fact that our recycling contractor was going to breach, or we told us they were gonna breach on the contract, and unlike some other cities and towns that were scrambling, this board actually let the professionals, particularly town council and DPW Director Stinson, do the job and make sure that we were able to provide services to the citizens of Wakefield. So I do want to thank you all for that and for showing confidence in our management team to get that done, and we did. I think that very few people were affected. There was no massive routes that weren't picked up, and we did have that one day when the contractors decided not to show up. Did that to every city in town, just decided, yeah, we told you the end of September, but we're not gonna show up today. So we scrambled, had our own staff finish up that day, and then we actually had our new JRM contractor in the next day. However, there are gonna be increased costs, as I did let the board know in a memo. Our thoughts right now, from Director Stinson and I, is that we will look for spaces in our current budget to cover the shortfall. That could be as much as $130,000 this fiscal year. We have identified a little over 100,000 of that we think we can cover. We'll see what happens during the year, because a lot of it has to do with tonnage on the trash removal in particular. And we had planned on a price of $65 per ton. Prices have come in a little bit lower. If that continues, we'll make up some money there, and we'll be able to handle the rest of the budget that way. But if not, unfortunately, I'll be back in the spring to get a supplement, or we may use the reserve fund for that, but it's too early to tell. But I do want to compliment the Director Stinson for doing a great job, and his staff. I mean, his staff came in and worked overtime and took care of everything and got it all ready to go. So I do really want to thank the workers who, you know, people say, well, they got overtime. Well, yeah, they did, but they had to do it in a moment's notice and maybe miss their family or what have you, and they made sure that no one was left in the lurch in the town of Wakefield. So I do want to thank them for their hard work, and that rest assured that town council and I and Mr. Stinson are looking into what the future may hold for our previous hauler. And that's it. I just wanted to thank the board for that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any comments for Steve?
I readily agree with our town administrator Mayo that they did do a great job, because I know in other areas, can you imagine what would have happened if they didn't come in and take care of that, the disaster of barrels of trash being left. So they did do a good job, and I do think the people of Wakefield appreciated that, because I think they thought it would be a lot longer before the trash would be taken up. So that was a good thing.
Thank you, fellas.
I just want to commend Rick and his staff. Thank you for burning the midnight oil, and thanks so much, Rick and DPW.
Very good. Anybody else? Thank you very much. Steve, great job.
Thank you. Public hearing.
Oh, yes, it's now 7:40. We need to move into the public hearing on petition for joint pole relocations on Armory Street. I will need a roll call vote, please.
Aye.
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 Okay, and we'll go right back into regular meeting after the public hearing. Mr. McGrill, Matt?
Mr. Chairman?
Evening, sir.
You have a tripod to set up, is there an appropriate spot to put that, or nowhere special?
I'm not sure.
Okay, pick a corner, Matt, maybe over by the TV.
Can I go in front of the TV, or is that?
Is that okay up there, Tom?
And just for the record, that roll call was to go into the public hearing. That's why I'm here. Who made the motion on that call? Did Ann make the motion? Just so I have it for the minutes. Ann made the motion.
Phyllis made the motion.
Phyllis, okay.
No, no. You made the motion.
Ann and then Phyllis, okay,
That's right.
fine. Ann and then Phyllis.
Oh, Matt. Matthew.
I want you to see how nice it is.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Attorney Brian McGrail with offices at 599 North Avenue in Wakefield. I'm here tonight representing 175 North LLC, who is the owner of the property known and numbered as 175 North Avenue, 40 West Water Street, and 48 through 52 Armory Street in Wakefield. When the term property is used in the presentation tonight, we will be collectively referring to all the addresses which I just mentioned. Matthew Maggiore is here tonight. He is the manager of 175 North LLC. I think the board is well aware of the Maggiore companies in Wakefield. They are the entity that reconstructed and renovated the beautiful Franklin School building into condominiums right on the Hart Street. Also here tonight is Everett Bryan, who is the right-of-way engineer for Verizon of New England. The reason that Mr. Maggiore and I are here in conjunction with Verizon tonight is because the two petitions that are the subject of this hearing are directly related to the property. Specifically, 175 North LLC is in the process of constructing a mixed-use project at the property that will contain 60 residential dwellings, and it will also contain approximately 8,000 square feet of retail service establishments and/or restaurants on the first floor. The name of that project is the Residences and Shops at Wakefield Station. The Maggiores are very excited about this project, and as you probably have driven by, it's on the way. This project was made possible by the zoning bylaw change that occurred at last November's town meeting that encourages this type of project in the vicinities of the railroad stations in the town of Wakefield. As required by that bylaw, this project was unanimously approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals at its meeting on July 20, 2016. I'd like to reference your attention, if I may, to the rendering, which Matt posted up, of this beautiful building that will be located at the intersections of North Ave, West Water Street, and Armory Street. That's a nighttime rendition of the building. You might take note that that rendition has no utility poles or wires in front of it. The purpose of tonight's petition is to allow for the removal of the poles and wires that are currently located, as currently located, would be right in front of this new mixed-use building on both the North Avenue side and the Armory Street side, and to relocate them with a significant portion of the wiring going underground. These existing poles and wires, if not relocated, would have a detrimental effect on the project from both an aesthetic perspective and a functional perspective. They would be right up against the new building and would not provide an adequate and safe utility supply. It's important to note that the relocation, as you'll see tonight, can be accomplished without having any negative impact on other properties in the area. Also, 175 North LLC will be paying for this utility relocation, and they will also be providing necessary easements on the property to allow for it to be implemented. We have submitted a smaller version of the site plan. Matt, do you want to kind of, what's happening here? Matt will get into some of the specifics, but what is being proposed is basically to take 2 utility poles and the wires that are in front of the building on North Avenue, and 2 utility poles in front of the building on the Armory Street side. Matt, could you kind of reference where we are?
So there's a pole on North Avenue in this location, and there's another pole right in the corner of North and Armory.
With wires between, which will be taken down, and then the poles on Armory Street, Matt?
So there's an existing pole right here, and another existing pole right here, right in front of the building. And the proposal would be to pull those 2 poles across Armory, adjacent to this facility here and adjacent to our parking lot on the south side of Armory.
So the poles in front of the, on both sides of the buildings will be removed. The other pink dot, that is another proposed location of a pole that currently is in front of a residence on a house further up Armory Street. That will be taken away from that house and actually moved in front of our property.
So it's existing right here, right now, which is right in front of the home. So we're gonna be pulling it closer to the corner of our property line. And basically the scheme is that the power's gonna come overhead from the opposite side of North, adjacent to the train tracks, to this first pole. We feed to this second pole here, then we jump underground and come to this pole. And they're able to continue the service up the street. Then we also jump underground there, and we have a duct bank, which all the underground power will be directed through the back of the property and reconnecting back up to West Water Street.
So as Matt pointed through the back of the property, the Maggioris will be providing an easement to the utility companies to allow them to go duct bank underneath our property. So what's really happening is all the poles and wires are being taken down out front and they're being put behind our building underground.
And that would apply to also Verizon, who is actually not even on these poles here, but Comcast will be coming off these poles. RCM will be coming off these poles, and again, we're providing easements for them as well to circle back up. They'll be coming down our property line underground, reconnecting to that pole, and also coming into the building to service the building.
So at the end of the day, 4 poles will be taken down, 2 new poles will be put up. 1 will be relocated from in front of a residential house and moved down in front of our property. It's important to note on the other side of Armory Street, where 2 of the poles are going up, one of them, Matt, could you show our parking lot?
Our parking lot's here.
Yeah, so there's 40 parking spaces that are associated with this project on the other side of Armory Street. As I referenced at the beginning, one of the addresses is 48 through 52 Armory Street. So those are 40 parking spaces that will serve this facility. So one of the poles is actually going to go in front of that parking lot, so it wouldn't have any impact on any abutter. I hope that gives a good picture of what we're trying to do. Happy to answer any questions. Everett is here because Verizon has control of these poles, and his company has filed for the petition for,
Brian,
2 petitions.
I see in the packet that the abutters were notified, and have you had discussions with any of the folks that this is impacting? It sounds like it's a good deal
Yep.
for them.
Matt has.
Yeah.
So we've spoken to the gentleman who owns the electrical supply electrical contractor
Sure.
that owns this facility here.
Yeah.
And he's aware that this pole is being relocated. Doesn't pose any issues to him. And actually, he's, through this whole process, Wakefield Municipal Gas and Light is also doing some improvements to the area. They're pulling, as you get further down toward the DPW garage, they're pulling the services across the street to the train track side of the street.
Yep.
And he's actually getting a new service, and if you drive down there, you can see that it's already, there's a meter socket and there's a pipe that's already set up for him to get a brand new service, which I think is 3-phase as opposed to single phase, which he's on now. So he gets cleaner power, and he's, we've had multiple discussions. We've actually marked this in paint exactly where this is gonna go based on scaled off a site drawing. So he's content that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Sure.
Phyllis?
Yeah, that was one of the questions that she had asked about the abutters. But just so there's a lot of people that watch the Board of Selectmen meeting. When these new things come up, they don't read the paper, they don't understand what's going on. And the first question I get asked to me is, who's going to pay for this? Who is going to be responsible for removing these poles, doing this work, putting it underground, and putting the new poles up?
My client will, but as Matt had mentioned, there's some upgrades that the Wakefield Municipal Gas and Light Department is doing at the same time, so they'd be responsible for those upgrades.
Who would be, the municipal light company would be responsible for
their
that?
upgrades, that would be a portion of this, but as far as the
They would be
relocations and
responsible.
putting it underground and the conduits, et cetera, it's all being paid for by 175 North LLC, the Majuris.
But what you're telling me is, some of this work, the WMGLD will be responsible for that.
Any of their upgrades are associated with it.
Okay. The reason I ask these kinds of questions is because, you know, when your gas and light bill comes in, when the prices go up, you know, they want to know why. And so this is one of my questions for this.
Understand?
Okay.
And Brian, they need to do upgrades anyways, my understanding is, and they're just doing it at the similar time?
Yeah, you want to,
My understanding is they're reconnecting through the back of our property, and they're able to utilize power that's available, but not being used right now. So my understanding is it actually is a benefit to the services and the circuits that are on Armory Street. And I don't know the exact specifics of that, but I could certainly get Vinnie McMahon to generate a note that would explain exactly what's
I
going
mean,
on.
if it's
But-
an upgrade, that's a good thing, typically, so.
And they've been trying to move power to the other side of North, to the northeast side of North, for quite a while. So now it's a good time that this is all coming together.
Good.
Right, the upgrade was gonna happen anyway at some point, right? I mean, they were gonna be doing this thing is just a
Well, they put
coincidence
the poles in.
timing-wise.
They put the poles in quite a while ago on the other side,
right.
with the intention that at some point it was going to happen.
Right.
But now that go out and mobilize once and kind of tackle it all at once.
Right, no, it's just good timing, it sounds like, for it.
Great.
it's going to clean up the whole neighborhood. I mean, I think a
It
common
already
goal is to
looks
get these
better.
utilities underground.
Already looks better.
Brian, I just want to ask a couple of questions just to confirm right now. I'm looking at 2 on North Ave, 2 on Armory, and 2 on West Water Street is being removed. Is that correct?
So two on North are being removed for sure.
2 on Armory Street,
Are being removed
and then it says 2
in
more by
place.
Verizon, replaced.
Yeah,
Does that
so-
mean replaced or removed?
So when you
On the West Water side?
Yes.
Those are being replaced. Those are existing poles that will be
Pulling
replaced
up,
with
putting in.
with new ones, right in the same location. That's why they don't need approval from this board.
so they go in the same footprint.
Trunk lines going from the manhole on West Water Street all the way to Armory? Is that how I'm reading that, right across the backside?
Yeah, so power will come across from West Water. Actually, come back up. So power will come down this pole underground across West Water into a manhole, basically, a duct bank, and then there's a number of conduits that run underground, which we'll give easements for, to another structure. And from that structure, it'll roll over, pick up that pole, rise back up on that pole.
So with all the power going on the ground, it's going to make that whole area look a heck of a lot better.
And if you actually look where this pole is in relation to the building, they wouldn't even allow this building to get built if that pole was there. So we're kind of stuck with the safety factor. You could hang your clothes out to dry.
I like what you're doing, and it's gonna make a vast improvement in that entire, all 3 streets, it's gonna make a big improvement.
Thank you.
Very good. Any further comments? Public, anybody from the public have any comments? So what do we need to do on this now? Do we need
Get a motion to close the public.
do we have to do-
And then
Okay, if there's no further questions from the board or the public, I'll entertain a motion to go into roll call vote to close the public hearing.
I move that we close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
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 Public hearing is closed. At this point, right now,
And I think, Mr. Chairman, you can take this as one vote as presented, and then we will do them separately in the minutes.
I'll entertain a motion then to approve the petition for the joint pole relocations as stated in this hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. With thanks.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank
folks.
you.
Thank you.
Work, you guys.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great evening.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Looks good.
Appreciate it, we're excited, so.
Okay, so let us go back to, what about the dog park? At this time, I would like to take up the meeting once again and start off with H, the dog park proposal. Steve? will you
Yes.
be-
I think Peter.
Oh,
Peter,
oh, dog park proposal.
Ah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
there you go, Peter.
During the campaign that many of us were on in the springtime, I ran into a lot of citizens who talked about a dog park, and I have a dog coincidentally, so I want to put that out there, as Ann would say.
You want to be very transparent.
Yes,
Yes.
very transparent. Thank you, Tony. That's an excellent point. So, with probably 100 or so people mentioning this, I think half the town has a dog or two. And I'm sure they're all properly licensed with Betsy Sharon and as a town clerk. The calls have been coming in still after the campaign, and with Steve Mayo, the town administrator, myself, we drove around to a number of locations. And I think the big thing was we didn't want to impede on anyone else's groups or town property that already was spoken for, whether it's recreation area, Tony, or just ballparks in general, parks. So we found, I think, an excellent location. It's actually considered 667 Main Street. Everyone know where that is?
I looked at the packet prior, so yeah.
667 Main Street. So in between North Suburban I and Tetchy Auto Repair. It's behind two benches. It's a beautiful area. And Phyllis, do you know where it is?
No, I don't. I
Because I know you looked at me kind of
One
like
thing
you-
about a dog park, I'm really concerned.
Okay,
I want to make sure,
yes. Oh,
I want the people to have a dog park if they want it.
Right.
But I want to make sure the dog park is not a nuisance to a lot of people.
right.
I
Well,
think you
here's-
ought to stick the
here's a
dog
couple more
park
things.
down in Arundel Ave down there.
Right, I just want to run a couple more things by. So, this would cost very little to get it up and running, no pun intended with the up and running.
That's okay.
Just some additional fencing. There's already a fence around it currently, except in the front. I should have taken a picture for you, Phyllis, too, because there's two benches that are in the front. There's actually a bus stop there. There's a little construction going on right there,
How- Peter, have
So-
patience.
Yeah.
Where down Main Street? I'm not familiar.
Yeah, so.
How far down Main Street?
Franklin Street,
Lisa's Pizza.
Franklin
Lisa's
is,
Pizza.
Fred Richards Street.
So, you know where the North Suburban Eye doctors are? There's a building right there, in between there and Tetchy's Auto Repair.
You pass Dunkin' Donuts on your left, going down Main Street towards Greenwood.
yes,
This
okay.
would be on your,
It would be on the
Right, correct.
right-hand
On your right,
side?
yeah.
Correct.
Phyllis, when you pass Railroad Ave, you know Railroad Ave where you go down to Tetchy's Auto Body and in there? There's a
Yes.
bus stop there and there are two benches, there's an
Yeah.
open field.
And it's that area
little
right
field
there?
It's cradled. It's a beautiful area, and it's much bigger than you think, too. When Steve and I went in there, we got out of the cars checking out all the sites, and this is the one site that really matches up well. We went to other towns, too. We went to Melrose, and no offense to anyone watching from Melrose, but Melrose has mulch. Their whole area is mulch, which isn't advantageous to have dogs. It's just, I don't think it's not conducive to have dogs running around with mulch. So this is a grass area. There's bushes lining it. That's why it's kind of a hidden gem. There's bushes on both sides of buildings and two benches in the front. And it goes back quite a ways, but it's almost fully, if you picture it as a horseshoe, it's all fenced in. Some of the fencing is a little, it needs repair, some of the fencing. But with a gate in the front and more fencing in the front, I think this probably would be $2,000 to get this up and running with a couple barrels, some signage, and some bags that were duly noted with the signs instructing them how to handle it. But it's very, very small on the expense side, but I think it's a great return for the town. And
Now,
it's a
Peter.
location that's not being utilized at all.
Would this be gated in?
Yes.
It would be gated in?
Oh, absolutely. You have to have a gate. And dogs, they need to be
Must gate.
controlled.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely gated in. So right behind, I'm picturing this, right behind the two benches, you'd have a fence with a gate.
Okay.
And right now, you have a horseshoe of a fence anyway, already there, with bushes and trees lining it.
Right.
Probably cut them back a little bit, Steve, on that. But it's a great location.
Do we have to consider, do any of the neighbors, has anybody talked about the people in the neighborhood, how they feel about this? Or we can just do it on our own?
Well, when you talk about the neighbors, it's, the two abutters are commercial setters, commercial settings.
Are all the abutters commercial?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So that's another,
Okay,
it's an
okay.
excellent point, though.
Okay.
Excellent
I
point.
just want to,
My point is, to Phyllis's testament, that I think we should probably go out 300 feet and just notify, if somebody's putting a dog park 2 houses down from mine, or 3 houses down from mine, I want to know. I think we should probably notify the neighbors within a 300 or 500 foot, distance, just to let them know this is going on. Like I said, if someone put it right next to me, or 2 houses down or 3 houses down, I'd like to know in advance. But like, it's a great location, I think we should just let the neighbors know.
Sure. No, it's a good point. I mean, the commercial setting is mostly where it's surrounded by, which is one of the
Yeah.
pluses too. But another good thing, though, is it's not tapping on anyone else's grounds, whether it's, playgrounds or, but it's just an unused gem, really, sitting on Main Street, which I didn't even know it was there until Steve was kind enough to mention it and say, let's take a drive. I didn't know where it was either, Phyllis.
now I'm glad I asked, because I really had no idea where this was, but
Sure.
I know exactly
I
where it
almost
is now.
took some pictures coming
So I
over.
understand
Right.
where it is, and I understand, because I have people that do business there, I realize that's a
Sure.
large commercial area down there.
Right,
And if
right.
it's fenced in, then that's fine with me.
It's 90% fenced in now already, with a couple breaks in the fences, but it looks terrific now. Any other questions, though? Because it's definitely something that I think the town wants, the town could use, and also the town doesn't have one right now.
Any further questions from members of the board?
No, as a comment, I think people take their dogs out of Wakefield to go to other dog parks at abutting towns. I mean, we've done that too. And most dog owners are very responsible about the dogs in a dog park. It's very self-policing.
Right.
If you have a dog who's a little rambunctious or,
Right.
I found it to be very respectful. I think it's, like you said, a good return for the money, a little bump in quality of life for people who have dogs to go, just let them socialize. No, I think it's great.
You do have to self-police, that's a great way to phrase
Absolutely.
it. I mean, before the meeting started, just talking about some things in general, people do have to take care of their pets, treat them like their children,
We
all do.
to some extent.
Well, we
Now,
self,
Most do.
What's the ACO? What's Katie think?
I'm sorry?
The animal control officer?
I spoke with Kenny.
Okay.
And Kenny is for it.
Yep.
And I spoke with Dennis Fazio, and he is for it too.
Good.
And as is, and we'll take a look at it and see if we shouldn't do anything else, but they're both for it and support it.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, as far as giving, this has been talked about now for several years that I know of. Having a fenced-in area, always a plus. Location, again, I think the location's good. At this point right now, though, all we need to do is make a vote to move the proposal forward. There's no money issues at hand right now, so there's no
There's no-
finalization on that end of it.
Well, I think that this money is very short on this because it's just some additional fencing and trimming back the trees, and we already have the bags and stuff, so there's very little, there's no extra appropriation needed.
Right, this town property, anyway, Stephen, it was being maintained by.
Right. And it's
by town.
DPW
Right.
property now, so it's
Right.
park,
So nothing-
park anyway.
I have to tell you, the reason I am this way about dogs is because I know you say people are responsible, but I go by the World War II Memorial, and I see people that are not, they don't care what their dogs do up there. I see where they go on the bushes and I see a lot of this, and so it makes me very leery. So I hope those people that do that will go down to the dog park.
Well, it's an excellent point, because if they have a dog park, maybe they won't be using other areas in town.
Yeah.
Now, that goes for other fields that people are using now, and so I think it's a great point. But I think that's gonna be utilized, and fenced in is a must.
Tony?
Yeah, I'm going to be very upfront about this. I'm going to vote no, and it's not because I don't support a dog park. I do. I just would like the abutters, the neighbors, the people who live there, people that own homes within, like I said, 300 or 500 feet, just be notified in advance. I do support the dog park, but like I said, my concern is with the property owners. in the residences.
What is the pleasure of the board? I'll entertain a motion to move the dog park proposal forward.
I mean, can the proposal move forward with the notice to abutters?
I
Or no?
think we can put whatever we want on the, correct?
Yeah.
Sure.
So why don't we do
I can
that?
support that then.
Sure.
Okay.
No, it's just reasonable.
No, that's fine. So I'll entertain a motion to move the dog park proposal forward with notification to abutters within 300 feet. That work?
So
works.
moved.
And then we'll bring this back at a future meeting.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Yep, thank you.
So
So moved.
moved, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved? Unanimous. Thank you, Mr. May. Mr. Mayo, MAPC?
MAPC, yes, it's very exciting to announce the fact that, last year we did, last year, or 6 months ago, we did get a grant of $40,000, a district local technical assistance grant to help with the planning for the future, and particularly our cultural district, looking at a strategy to create a cultural economic district on Albion Street. And our town planner put together a scope for this project with the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. And they'll be working with that Fine Point consultant report that we all received earlier this year regarding the marketing and attracting businesses to our downtown. And we'll be working with the public and with different stakeholders down there. And really what we're looking to do is to, find out how do we use an anchor building like 11 Albion Street that this board was great enough to maintain, and we've all been there for a lot of great activities, to create a cultural and / economic engine down there. And with our long-term goal is to really bring more consumers to downtown Wakefield and use our businesses. So this is step one along that journey. It is a $40,000 grant that we will use to look at everything from existing conditions to futuristic conditions, even to think about would we design something to conceptually look at Albion Street, an arch or something like that, to say this is our cultural district. So we're really looking to engage the community on this and to work with MAPC. Our town planner, Paul Riffis, has done a great job with this. And I'm very excited about it. I know that probably most of the board, if not all of the board, has come to events at the Albion Cultural Exchange, and I think it's starting to bring people downtown. You look at their first Thursdays, and there are hundreds of people in downtown that wouldn't have been maybe regularly, and now maybe they're going to Sakura or to Karen's or to Brothers or to wherever, to help the business downtown. So I would like authority from the board to move forward with this and take it from there. And we'll come back with, there'll be hearings and meetings, but it's an exciting venture.
Discussion from the board?
I think anything that we can do to bring more business downtown, to get more people interested in it, that it's important that we go ahead and do something like this.
I agree.
Steve, can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Is the grant set? We have that grant.
We have the grant,
There's
yeah.
no danger of it being.
Oh, no, there's no danger.
Okay.
This is actually kind of outside of the regular budget process,
Okay,
so I'm not
that was
worried
my
about a
question.
9C cut
Got
from the
it.
state on this. Oh, yeah.
Excellent. Thank
This
you.
is money in the bag, so to speak.
Perfect. No, it's a great idea.
I think this is a wonderful idea for myself. $40,000 is a lot of money to come up with an idea for how to move forward with the cultural component. Peter, Tony?
No,
I will entertain a motion then to allow Mr. Mayo to move forward with the development of the Mass Cultural Economic Development Plan scope of work.
So moved.
Moved, seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Steve. Let's move on to the request from the Traffic Advisory Committee recommending 4 changes. We'll have to take a vote on each one individually. So Traffic Advisory Committee is recommending that the intersection of Pleasant Street and Wave Avenue be made into a four-way stop for both the northbound and southbound traffic, and to also install stop warning signs in advance of the stop signs in each direction. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Requesting that the DPW to improve the area of sidewalk that abuts the property on Wakefield Avenue with a finished coat of asphalt and a curb, and that the sidewalk on the east side of Wakefield Avenue be posted no parking approximately 60 feet north of the intersection with Richardson Street.
So moved.
Moved?
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That a crosswalk be installed at the intersection on the north side of Greenwood Street in Hickory Hill Road from the southeast corner of Hickory Hill Road across Greenwood Street to the northwest corner of Myrtle Ave, and there should be advanced pedestrian crossing warning signs on both the east and west Greenwood Street approaches to the crosswalk, with standard crosswalk signs placed on the same post on the northwest corner of Greenwood Street and Myrtle Ave. Motion to approve that one. That's a mouthful.
So moved. Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
I
next
don't
one's-
really fully understand this.
Could you repeat it, please?
I wish Lieutenant
I
Squirrel
don't
was here to tell
understand
us.
it, but because of what I did in my area with the stop signs, and because they listen to the people so I'll have to trust that they know what they're doing. That's all I
Thank you.
can say.
I think we should have Paul read it again anyway.
He's got another,
I have one more to go.
he's got one more.
Just,
I'll entertain a motion also that the south side of Audubon Road be posed with signs that read "No stopping, no standing" from the driveway at 360 Audubon Road and extending east for approximately 100 yards. The north side of Audubon Road be posted with the same signage from the driveway of 107 Audubon Road and extending west to the beginning of the cul-de-sac. Also, 4 parking spaces for tractor-trailer units be painted on the north side of the cul-de-sac and clearly marked for tractor-trailer parking only, with hash-marked area painted to prohibit additional units from parking in the cul-de-sac area.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded. Discussion. None heard? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Let's move on to item number 4, personnel and appointments. I'd like a vote, please, to allow you, or is that us?
The board, actually, the board signed.
Okay, I'd like to vote, please, to sign an agreement regarding both the plumbing inspector and the electrical inspector as dictated in our packets.
Our towns, yeah.
This is, you know, in 2008,
Right.
I started with the board's direction, trying to do everything we can to collaborate with different communities. And started in 2008 with Linfield, actually had an agreement with Linfield to collaborate on our plumbing and electrical inspectors in 2008, because we already share a building inspector, so it makes a lot of sense. Linfield wasn't quite ready to do that in 2008, so it took me 5 years, but we got it done in 2013. So for the last 3 years, we've had a great relationship with not only building, but plumbing and electrical. It's worked out great. I think the service has been better, and we've probably saved about $30,000-$40,000 annually by collaborating with another community, which is big, which is huge, and those are starting to add up. So that was for a 3-year agreement. So that expires in 2016. So we are re-upping this for the next 3 years, and just wanted to bring this for the board to sign and move forward. Linfield has already signed it, and we have copies for the board's signature today. And I think it's a great, it's been a great business program for the town. They are the same 3 inspectors that we hired in 2013. I would say there's been no complaints on either side, and there's a great working relationship with our building inspector. Things are getting done, and it's just really worked out very well, and I'd like to continue. But if it doesn't work out well, we have a 30-day out in here, as we've had before. So I think we get the best of both worlds and save some money.
Excellent. Any further questions? I'll entertain a motion then to approve the agreement for the plumbing inspector and electrical inspector.
Make a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Item B, authorization to advertise for the Wakefield Cultural Council. This is due to the fact that we have a resignation coming up, and there's also 2 empty seats, if I'm not mistaken, on this board. So I'll entertain a motion then to authorize the advertisement for the Wakefield Cultural Council seats.
So moved.
So moved, seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. I'd like to entertain a motion, please, for the appointment to the Commission on Disabilities in the name of John B. Murray Jr., 497 Lowell Street.
So moved.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second for discussion. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. 5 is done. Licenses and permits. We have a request for a 1-day liquor license for the Rotary Club of Wakefield for wine tasting at the Civic Center on November 4th, 2016, from 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We have another request for a 1-day liquor license for the Hartshorn House for wine tasting at the Hartshorn House on October 1st, 2016, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much. Item number 7, we have correspondence from the Massachusetts Municipal Association 2007 Legislative Package Proposal. Steve, I have one thing that, you are a member of that
Yes.
board. I read through the packet myself on that, and there was one item that I would like you to possibly have the MMA address in the upcoming year or at some point in the near future. That is, Massachusetts is not a designated area regarding the Main Street organization, Main Street Center. With that designation, it opens the communities up to more grants, more assistance. We need someone to start championing that cause for Main Streets throughout all of Massachusetts. And the MMA is the best vehicle that I know. It's very appropriate to do so. So I would ask you to please bring that request to them.
Will do.
Thank you very much. Any other, now it's our comments. We're gonna go round table. We're going to start with Mrs. Hall.
Okay. First, I really want to thank, the last time I asked for several things to be done. I asked for somebody to go to 66 Pleasant Street, and I want to thank Rick Stinson. They always the most helpful. They've carved out the whole street. It's in really bad shape, but he's got it ready, and I know that's going to be repaired. And then I had asked them to go to several other places because the trees were so overgrown that they were interfering with the lines, and there was going to be a problem. And that was all taken care of. So I want Rick Stinson I want him to know how much I appreciate everything that we have asked him to do. They've tried to be helpful. The phone calls that I get, the people call me back, they thank me, and so, which has been wonderful. Now, one of my biggest wishes and I'm gonna fight till I get it. I want Greenwood to look like Main Street Wakefield. I think I discussed that the last time we were here. And I've approached the savings bank and told them that we want to put the flowers and make Greenwood just as beautiful as we do up here, because there's nothing being done. So what they have asked me to do is to get a quote to see how much it would cost to put in the containers for the flowers. And I told them I don't expect them to pay everything, but I would bring the bill to them, and whatever they wished would be like a gift to us that they would do. And I know they will do something. Now, to put 6 of those down in Greenwood is like $1,600. And I don't know how much they will give us, but if they don't give us the $1,600, I will ask the town administrator, Mayo, to find the rest of the money so that we can get that down. We gotta just acknowledge the people in Greenwood just as much as we do up here. So I'm bringing that to the board and asking for your consent to see if that's okay with you people.
Thank you. Very good. Anything else, Phyllis?
That's it.
Thank you, Phyllis.
Just very briefly, on reflection of the 15th anniversary of 9/11, I just want to thank some of the Wakefield firefighters and first responders who actually worked at Ground Zero right after 9/11 and risked their own lives, frankly, and health for doing that. And I know some of our firefighters certainly did that, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Tony?
I have one thing, I'll be as brief as possible. I jog the lake pretty frequently, I bike the lake, I paddleboard the lake, and I go by the Lakeside Office Park maybe 3 or 4 times a week. It is the most, the first thing people see when they come into our town. It is potentially a gem, but nothing is getting done. I don't see any improvement with that property. I'd like to see something done. Maybe the owner could get brought in here and tell us his plans for that property. I think that piece of property, Lakeside Office Park, has more potential than downtown itself. If you look at putting in a first-class hotel, some restaurants, if I called it shabby, it would be a compliment. I will leave it at that.
Okay.
Well, I want to concur with Phyllis. Rick Stinson's been doing a great job. I've been getting a lot of calls, probably not as many as Phyllis, because she's been around a couple more years than me, but the tree cutting, when people are calling about, just the trees are either on the town property and they're just ripping up the sidewalks, or they're coming down on their cars or whatever, Rick, and through Steve, obviously, working with Rick, it's been done right away, and people call me, and they don't often call to compliment and thank you as much as they do about the need, but they're doing both, which is great. So I think that's a testament to we're doing a good job in town for that.
Yeah, you're right, Peter, because Greenwood has made some really good strides. I mean, the way the shops and the signs and the way
Sure.
they've painted, it's so neat and clean, better than some of the things we have on Main Street, and they deserve to have something done for them.
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you. Thanks, Peter.
And I appreciate the consideration on the dog park, and Tony's comments were well taken, and that's it for me today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I have nothing but praise for the town of Wakefield tonight, starting from Mr. Mayo right down to the police department, the fire department, DPW, forest department, anyone who had a helping hand in the last Festival of Italia. Again, it went off without a hitch. It's amazing with 20,000 people walking the streets. There was not one disruption. Everything went smooth. Everything went nice and easy. Trash was picked up. Everything went nice. So kudos to all departments in the town of Wakefield for pitching in and making that a very successful event.
Paul, just to interrupt you, I mean, it would go without saying that you had some role in this.
No, the committee,
You have been doing it for a number of years, I think 7, so I think that
the committee has a lot to do with
accolades
that.
to Paul Danaco as well, seriously.
No. Thank you, though.
Well.
I appreciate that. On to discussions, though, with concerns, and this is more close to home than it is anything else. We've been through several months now of drought conditions. Most communities, you look out in their areas and water levels are extremely low. I have a big concern with the Mill and Saugus rivers right now because the water levels aren't going down. If we get hit with a 4 to 5 inch rainstorm, you're gonna have massive floodings from Water Street to Salem Street, from Water Street to New Salem Street, because the water's not gonna have anywhere to go. There's something wrong when I can look out my window and see a large amount of water still in the river. No one has water. It's dry everywhere. Go out to Worcester right now, their lake is almost empty. The Quabbin's very low. Lynn, Walden and Lynn, they're all low. Not the Mill River, not the Saugus River. They're pretty high, and that's a concern for me right now, being a closer butter, as they say, to the river. If I had only known back in '88 what would happen in 2000, it would be a little bit different, but I live there now, and it's just a concern over that. I'm afraid of that one big storm that might come up the coast and just do us all in. But with that said, I'm not sure what can be done there. I know that we proposed some remediation down the road with the Nepides. So I'm hoping that can move forward at some point in the future as far as getting some work done to alleviate some of the problems. But with that said,
Have a few things?
sure, no, with that said, I'm gonna move it on to you.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Just want to let the community know that, and thank the board for, supporting the request for qualifications on the hockey rink consultant. I would say probably 15+ engineering type firms have expressed interest in this proposal. So the proposals are due on September 21st. I've been approached by several board members, and what I'd like to do, if it's okay, is Ian and Tony to help me out in that process. We will have, of course, our rec director and our AD there to kind of shepherd through these things, and we'll have some interviews and bring something back. So that'd be great if you two had both expressed concern and you have expertise, and it'd be great. Thank you. Number one. Number two, Kayla Harrison, who does some training in Wakefield, was the silver medal winner, I believe. Gold member winner in the Olympics for judo. There is an event that the board was invited to on September 14th at 7 p.m. in Boston. I sent that out to the board. I know that Selectwoman Santos is going. If anybody else wants to go, let me know, and I will get that name into them, just so they know we're coming. I think it's a great event, and it's a woman Kayla Harrison has an unbelievable story. So maybe we can get her in there at some point. Number three, we have a neighborhood meeting tomorrow night. It is posted as a selectmen's meeting, so you all are welcome to attend. You don't have to worry about the open meeting law regarding options for the Hurd School. It is going to start at 6:15 at the Hurd School. We will give tours of the first floor only. It may be nostalgic for some people to see there, to see what's going on, and then we'll have a very brief presentation and listen to the community and see what the community is looking at there. So that's tomorrow at the Hurd School, starting at 6:15. And finally, Mr. Chairman, we did receive in the mail the other day after the agenda was set, but I feel very comfortable doing these things going around the table. It is whether the board would like to accept a donation of $1,400. The town of Wakefield donation is being made in exchange for a bench to be placed at Moulton Playground in honor of Susan and Butch Majeski, who are very well known to this community, in honor of their golden anniversary. The children got together and thought that would be nice. So if I could get a motion to accept that gift, that'd be wonderful.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded. Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
And that's all I have.
Excellent. Is there anything else around the table? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
And the Patriots won yesterday.
Patriots won.